Hi everyone, Carolyn Peeler here today with a faux watercolor technique using Copic markers and vellum. This past week, Ellen Hutson and Julie Ebersol released a new collection of stamps, and I created this card that I'm holding here for the blog hop to introduce those stamps, and I had a lot of questions about it. So today I'm going to walk you through the technique. To get started, you're going to take your stamp. This is the Mondo Hydrangea stamp that was from this new collection. You're going to ink it with Versamark and stamp it onto vellum. Before you stamp, you might just want to take an embossing buddy or a dryer sheet to just rub your vellum quickly so that there's not static cling to it, because you don't want your embossing powder to get stuck onto that vellum. You want it to stick only where you've stamped. Once you've done that, shaken off the excess embossing powder, you'll use your heat gun to heat it and to melt that embossing powder so you get this nice crisp white image that's ready to go and ready to be colored. For your next step, I've stamped 3 of these, and you can see I've turned the vellum over, so you're going to be coloring onto the wrong side of the vellum. Now, as you can see here, I have sped up the speed of the video. This is kind of a long process, so I didn't want you to have to wait through 2 minutes of me coloring, so I fast forwarded it. The basic technique is very, very simple, and there's no special sauce for doing this. You're simply coloring. There we go. I've stuck a sheet of white cardstock underneath, so now those colors are going to be you'll be able to see them better without having the wood in the background. So the thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take 3 markers in the same sort of color family or similar color family. You'll want one color that's light, one that's medium, and then one that's quite a bit darker. That's going to be your accent color. And for those, you're just going to color directly onto this vellum. Generally, I color about 85–90% of the blossoms with the light and color the entire blossom. Then with the medium, I'm going to hit probably about 50% or so of the blossoms. And with the darkest one, for that one, I'm probably going to only hit about 40% of the blossoms, and I'm not going to color the entire blossom. I'm just going to hit maybe 3/4 of it or so. Now, the one thing, and the way this is really going to have that watercolor look, is you're not going to want to blend the colors out. One of the things we're very familiar with doing, for those of us who use the Copic markers quite a bit, is we're used to blending the colors out and to really trying to get this beautifully blended look. Here you really want the colors to be separate. That's what gives it the watercolor look, the hard edges. As your final step for the coloring, you're going to come in with a green. And for this, I didn't worry about more than one color. I just simply used one green color to color the stems. For the next step, we're going to put our adhesive behind the hydrangea. One thing several people ask me is why my vellum adhesive didn't show through. It's because I used a solid adhesive under the whole image, and that way you don't have to worry about it showing up or not showing up. Because I know that sometimes finding the proper adhesive to use with vellum can be a little tricky, or sometimes I've found that I've run out of the proper adhesive. So this one works really great, this tip. Once you've got your adhesive onto the back of it, you're going to glue it onto, or stick it onto white cardstock, just normal run-of-the-mill white cardstock. And then you'll be taking your embossing die, so in this case the Mondo Hydrangea matching die. You lay it over in place, and then I usually use, to hold my dies in place, I usually use some washi tape. If you're like me, you have rolls of it that you're never going to actually use the whole thing. So I use washi. Scotch tape will also work just fine. Once you have that adhered, run it through your die cut machine and you're good to go. Now for the next step, we're going to prep the background that's going behind the flower. This I'm going to do with watercolors. And in this case, I'm using 2 of the new Daniel Smith watercolors. This is the Blue Apatite and the Kyanite Genuine. These are both Primatech colors. One of the really cool things with Primatech, and this is what I just absolutely went crazy about at CHA when I saw these, was that several of these Primatech colors have a natural shimmer to them. The Primatechs are colors that are made using natural minerals, and in this case, both of these colors have a beautiful shimmer. It is not going to show up on camera very well. For the photos, it definitely won't show up. At the end of the video, I'm going to be holding up the card and kind of rotating it a little bit back and forth so you can see the shimmer play, and you'll be able to see it then, but it is absolutely beautiful. As a final step, we're going to stamp a greeting onto the card. So in this case, I'm using the Hello stamp from the All Inside stamp set. It's also one of the new ones that was just released. And for the hydrangea, I will be gluing that on with pop dots, some low profile pop dots so that it has a 3D. And then this is the little magic sauce to make everything great. I'm using here the, sorry, I just lost my notes. I'm using the Wink of Stella Clear. Oh my gosh, that's a brain fart. And that is just a little shimmer that I'm putting over top so that you're going to get this beautiful shimmer on the flower as well as so it matches the background. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Bye-bye.